Let's talk about that big win, shall we? I'm ready to get tuned up. Are you? Let's get into it.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast with Kelly Singh.
Murray heaves it downfield. It's caught. It is caught. DeAndre Hopkins. Miraculous. It's Murray magic.
The sickest Arizona Cardinals podcast. It's gonna be sick.
Welcome back to the sickest Arizona Cardinals podcast. I am your hostess, Kelly Singh, joined by pod favorite Donnie Druin. Donnie, what's up?
How are you? Long time no see.
Long time no see, for real. You've been so busy out there. We kind of tag teamed a little bit the first day of camp. I'm like, hey, did you see this? Or did you? And we're like swapping angles. That was fun. One day I might be cool enough to join you in the actual
fair warning, that is not up to my discretion. It's a very, very prestigious club to get in, and I was kind of grandfathered in, so I can't say I'm cool enough either. I just kind of got lucky.
Okay, well, I'll probably figure it out at some point. But just being able to be at training camp was so much fun. And then you've gone straight from training camp right into preseason games. And the beat goes on, I guess.
It really does. It's ramping up right now too, because you have that lull after the draft, and then you get like the rookie mini camps, and you get the mandatory mini camps, and then you have that like 3 or 4 week period in July where it's just a boat of nothingness you can't escape from. And then training camp hits, and then you kind of get thrown into preseason. And next thing you know, we're like, there's already a game that's been played. We have 2 more games and a week off, and the regular season is here. So the ball has been rolling for a while now. Now it's not going to stop rolling until like mid-January.
Yeah, it's just going to keep going. But what I really loved about attending camp was getting to see our quarterback room really get a workout. I put out a piece of content that I was pretty proud of, actually. It was comparing each quarterback throughout the reps, all the things they were doing. It wasn't pads, it was just throwing. But what I found super interesting was the energy that Colt McCoy got when he was doing side-by-side drills or reps with Clayton Tune, for instance. It was almost like a pep in his step kind of thing. And part of it could be leadership and wanting to be the veteran. And part of it could be like, oh shit, there's this guy. We don't know what's going on in his head. But I was excited for this win, and hearing that Clayton Tune, who I feel very excited about, played a lot of the game. You have some very interesting insights, because I know that you are unsure, at least from what I've read, about Clayton Tune.
Yeah.
Maybe give us some of your insights from this first preseason game. Let's talk about the quarterback situation. What are you seeing, Donnie?
Let's do it. Yeah, I do want to touch on the previous point you made about Colton McCoy, because whenever he spoke to reporters, he mentioned that this is really the first time in a long time where he was the guy going into week 1, right? Colt McCoy's almost built a career out of being a backup in the NFL. And granted, he has subbed in for Kyler Murray a handful of games each of the last 2 seasons and brought home victories, but he's never been the starter heading into week 1, with Kyler Murray's return from ACL still kind of unknown, just as far as potential timetable. Colt's going to be the guy until the foreseeable future. And I think he knows that. And I think that's kind of why you're seeing a little bit more juice, a little bit more pep in his step whenever it comes to running and commanding the offense. Now, Clayton Tune could change that. Do I think he will? I don't think so. I know there's a whole lot of people in Arizona who want to get tuned up, and rightfully so. I mean, he had a very exciting college profile coming out of Houston. He's made some good throws in training camp. He's made some bad throws in training camp. basically he's looked like a 5th-round rookie, right? He does look like your prototypical, air raid, run and gun kind of quarterback who is going to make some throws that make you say wow, and then make some other throws that make you say wow, right? um, his first preseason performance started off a little shaky. Afterwards in the locker room, he admitted that he was definitely nervous, and I empathize with him because that's a very, very big step for him to take. Going from college right into the NFL, playing his first preseason game. After he settled the nerves, he did look a little bit more refined. I like how he ended his time on the field with a nice little post pattern for a touchdown late in the fourth quarter that eventually helped the Cardinals come back and win that game. Pros for Clayton Tune, he's very athletic. I thought whenever he kind of escaped out of the pocket, he was a very mobile guy. I do think his legs can be a very big weapon for him. And for a rookie, it looked like he knew where certain people were supposed to be at certain times. It looked like he knew what the pre-snap coverage was from the defense. And although small, I do think those are going to be very big building blocks for him kind of getting the next level of things at this point in time. The things I did not like out of him, he was a very inconsistent guy. Now, granted, he did kind of have to go from playing with some of the starting wide receivers to, some of the second and third string guys. So not a whole lot of familiarity with that in the NFL. And this out of a quarterback wide receiver duo, timing is almost everything. And, you need as many reps as you can. So when you're throwing to a guy who maybe you don't have a lot of experience with, that can definitely make for some tough times, but very inconsistent outside of the numbers. I didn't see him go through progressions like at all. I have it right here. I think 13 reads I charted where there was an obvious first guy he was supposed to throw to. 11 of those he ended up just locking in, staring right into him, which will get you picked off a lot against starting defenses. But overall, I thought he bounced back well, and I think that's very, very important for a rookie quarterback. Whenever those guys make mistakes, granted, everybody makes mistakes, right? I'm more interested to see how they bounce back, how they, kind of let that settle in their gut. Hey, I made a mistake. I threw a really bad interception. How am I going to rebound? And I thought Clayton Tune rebounded very well.
That's great news. I really love that. But I think it could be the story of this game might have been the defense, at least from everything that I'm picking up and catching. I happen to be traveling, so I'm starting to get all the bits and pieces from the weekend. But wow, that defense seemed hungry.
Yeah, Russell Wilson did not have a lot of time to throw at all. And it's weird because in the preseason, when you think of preseason football, you think of vanilla defense, vanilla offense. We're not going to show a whole lot. No, the first year defensive coordinator, Nick Rallis, cut it loose almost right away. He was putting a lot of pressure on Russell Wilson, and it almost felt kind of refreshing to see a Cardinals defense swarm the football and get after the quarterback with that kind of mentality, considering what fans have seen the last couple of years with Vance Joseph.
Yeah, for real. It seems like they just wanted to get out there and show and do something and get him. It was get him.
Yeah, for sure. And what was more interesting too is that you had prominent guys and brand new positions. We saw Zaven Collins out at outside linebacker for the first time. He looked pretty decent both in run and pass support. Isaiah Simmons kind of playing that deep safety role, even filling in for Budda Baker and standard sets because Budda Baker didn't play. He was kind of the guy opposite of Jalen Thompson. A lot of storylines I feel like you can pick out of that preseason game, especially on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, it was really exciting to see those clips played back. And it was also really exciting to see the Cardinals social media team was featured on mainstream television. Everybody's talking about the work that they're doing. That's pretty exciting too. Do you happen to know anybody on the Cardinals social media team?
I know of them. I don't talk a whole lot to people I'm not really familiar with. I know who runs a social media team, but I can't say we're buddies or anything.
Right. I just find it to be really refreshing this season in particular. And I know being in marketing that social media teams have a lot of turnover. And I'm not sure if it's the same person last year that it is this year, but I do know that the content has been definitely upgraded. It's been entertaining. And at the same time, it's also been realistic, but yet we're here to play. We're not here to lose. The Cardinals are not stepping out on the field with a mentality of here's another loss. So I like the vibe that I'm getting from that digital team, just setting the stage of we're not going quietly. I love that. I
Yeah, I
don't
think
know.
that's a product of Jonathan Gannon too, because far after Gannon took the job, even now, I remember seeing a tweet from somewhere on Twitter that said the Cardinals were the only team in the NFL to not be favored in a single game on sportsbooks heading to 2023. And it feels like so many of the outside people and even the people who, cover them locally don't think they're going to have that great of a season. But when you talk to Jonathan Gannon, when you talk to his coaching staff,
Mhm.
when you talk to his players, I don't think they're gunning for a Super Bowl. I don't think they
Right.
realistically believe they can hold up a Lombardi trophy. But they'll be damned if they don't try, right? And like it's just
Right.
it feels like with the talent assembled, if and when Kyler Murray does return in 2023, it really feels like if they're not going to win, they're at least going to push other teams to
Yeah.
the brink of potentially losing. And it's funny because when you talk to people and they ask you, what does a successful 2023 look like?
Mhm.
I don't think you're going to see success in the win and loss column. I think you're going to see it in terms of these guys developing, these guys improving. I think whatever the record is this year, throw it at the books. If you see this team drastically improve, maybe not drastically, but just get better each and every week from week 1 to week 17 or week 18, I think that's going to be a huge, huge win knowing that your guys and your franchise are going in the right direction.
I am so glad to hear you say that. This weekend, I was at the Fantasy Football Expo, and I participated in an invite only, like, you call it the Queen's Classic. The King's Classic has existed for like 4 years, but um, and I got a lot of questions about Cardinals players independently, specifically James Conner, Marquise Brown, Rondale Moore, Zach Ertz has come up. And I'm always poking you too to get, what do you know? Do you know anything? Do you know anything? But what I love is that whether it is, win or lose, these guys are still going to get the ball for fantasy football. If you're
Yep.
thinking about who's my wide receiver two or who's my flex, Marquise Brown is your flex. It- Zach Ertz is your flex. If you like to play more than one tight end, like I do, I will play them all if you let me. And I think that James Conner is your RB2 or your flex, because these guys are still amazing athletes. And whether or not the Cardinals are a winning team, they're still going to be scoring fantasy points, and they're still very relevant individual players on this team.
No, 100%. You have to look at the opportunity they're going to have too. Just because they're not going to win or they're projected not to win a whole lot of games next year doesn't mean those guys aren't going to get opportunity. And I think James Conner is the glaring example of that. The Cardinals have me and you behind him on their depth chart at running back. James Conner is going to see plenty of touches
Yeah.
this year on both the rushing and the passing attack. The wide receiver room, I think Michael Wilson really might push himself into some serious playing time. So between him, between Rondell, between Marquise, one of them's going to break out. I don't know who it is, but it feels like one of them's just going to have a very, very good statistical season.
I'm excited for it. I mean, I love fantasy. Let's look ahead. We have a game on Saturday. I'll be attending. I'm super excited. By the way, did you know that I won season tickets?
I saw you tweet something about it, and then you were like, I didn't even realize it until like I looked somewhere.
Didn't. I picked up my phone. I'm here at work at Trophy Smag, where August is crazy town. And I pick up my phone to get like a code, when you get texted a code to log in to something. And a DM pops up from the Cardinals. And it's like, hey, Kelly, just letting you know you have 1 hour. And it's like dot, dot, dot. And I'm like, what the heck? And I open it up and it's like 1 hour to claim your season tickets.
That's exciting. Wow.
It was so much fun. So thank you, Arizona Cardinals. It was a retweet campaign. It wasn't any sort of popularity contest or what you do or whatever. It was just a retweet, and randomly there were 10 sets given away and I got one of them. So I will be there Saturday. What do I have to look forward to, Donnie, on Saturday?
Patrick Mahomes. That's what you have to look forward to.
Oh.
They're playing the Kansas City Chiefs, and notoriously the Chiefs don't like the rest of their starters a whole lot in the preseason. So I would definitely anticipate not a lot, but a good chunk of guys like Pat Mahomes and Travis Kelce playing. I think it'll be really fun to see the Cardinals kind of bounce back from that very, very close comeback win against the Broncos to taking on a roster that just won the Super Bowl a few months ago in the very same stadium, nonetheless, too. So maybe we get to see guys like Budda Baker, guys like DJ Humphries, guys like James Conner take the field for the first time. Well, we're not super sure. I think the Cardinals are taking a like individual approach to those guys instead of, hey, we're going to play our starters X, Y, and Z. It's, hey, what do we think about James Conner? How much playing time do you think Budda Baker needs before the season? This, and that. But I would definitely anticipate a handful of key starters for the Cardinals actually playing for the first time in week 2.
That's exciting. I'm excited. Maybe we can bump into each other and grab some popcorn.
I am so down for that. Super down.
Okay. Thank you so much for making time for me. Those of you who are watching, just know next week I'm finishing up what should be the last bit of my breast cancer treatment. Fingers crossed, everybody. Surgery on Tuesday the 22nd, and I'll be out the rest of that week. We are looking to come back at you for 2 episodes every week during the season, just like last season. And as you can see, I'm blurred out right now, but I think I may have found a home finally at the Trophy Smack office. But I'll only be here 1 week a month now from September on. Otherwise, you'll see me in my cute little home studio, which is fantastic. Like Donnie's, even better than Donnie's.
Yeah, no, sure, it is better.
Thanks everyone for tuning in. Let's cheer on those Cardinals, and we'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast with Kelly Singh on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.